purpose to disguise her movements?
No, that can't be it. Remember what Hina just said?
What the? Hina, what's the meaning of this?
Well... You lied to us. Plain and simple. If you look at the footprints, your movements in the chem lab are obvious. The powder had already been spilled when you came in, and you went straight to Section A. So you never went to Section C. Whatever you did there, it only involved Section A.
Well, you see...
What the hell? What's going on here?
And the footprints aren't the only problem with her account. Before I explain that part, I'd like to submit some new evidence.
New evidence? Impossible, there can't be.
Are you sure? After all, you're the one that gave it to me.
I did?
It was hidden inside the bottle of poison you gave me. I'm amazed you, of all people, would miss such a vital clue. A truly grave oversight.
Just say it already! What is it you think you found?
I found this. It had sunk to the bottom of the bottle. And the hidden clue was exposed, thanks to you ingesting the powder. I couldn't have solved the mystery without you. So, thank you for that.
But, what is it?
Oh, you still don't realize? Well then. Makoto, why don't you explain it?
Huh? Me?
If you really do know, explain the meaning of that shard of glass.
I got it! It's part of the window from the rec room door, right?
The window?
The window we broke to get in was light blue, just like that. So I think that must be it.
You're right. It must be. Of course, that leads to another question. How did a shard of glass from the window get inside this bottle of poison?
What's so strange about that?
What's strange is that, according to what Hina told us, shoot! What's strange? I got it! The bottle of poison was left on the shelf in the chem lab. That is what you said, right, Hina? And yet, somehow a piece of glass from the rec room window made its way into the bottle.
Everything Hina told us was a lie?
In reality, that bottle of poison most definitely found its way to the rec room. It was there at least until the window got broken. In other words, when the locked room was unlocked. There's no other way to explain the presence of that glass in that bottle.
And then, once the room was opened, the bottle somehow got moved back to the shelf in the chem lab. Meanwhile, the protein can we found at the crime scene was planted there. That had to be after the locked room was opened. In other words, after Sakura died.
Wait, hold on.
When it comes to that protein can, there's not a doubt in my mind. Until the locked room was unlocked, it absolutely was not in there.
So you're saying someone planted it there?
No, it had to have been in there the whole time. It had to be. It was in there before the rec room was unlocked.
When it comes to that protein can, there's not a doubt in my mind. Until the locked room, it absolutely...
So you're... someone planted it?
No, it had to have been in there the whole...
It had to be. It was in there before
the rec room was unlocked.
When it comes to that approach, there's not a doubt
Until the locked room was unlocked. Shoot! I refuse to give up yet!
When it comes to that code,
There's not a doubt in my mind. Until the
Locked room was unlocked. Shoot!
when it comes to that, there's not a doubt in my mind.
Until the locked
Room was unlocked.
shoot! When it comes to that protein can,
There's not a doubt in
until
The locked room was unlocked.
shoot! When it comes to that protein,
there's not a doubt until the law. It absolutely was not.
So you're saying someone planted it there?
No, it had to have been in there the whole... It had to be.
It was in there before the wreck.
No, that's wrong. You remember how there was broken glass scattered all around the room, right?
Of course. It came from the window you broke to get in. What about it?
Well, those pieces weren't just scattered around the protein can. We also found pieces underneath the can.
What?
And this proves it. It shows that the can must have been put down on the floor after the window was broken. So it had to be after we got into the room.
I see. So that's your explanation. Kyoko, earlier when you asked if anyone had moved the can or tripped over it...
if that were the case, that would explain the can being on top of the glass.
So you asked everyone about it to eliminate that possibility right out of the gate.
And that's made everything clear, hasn't it? As long as it was a locked room, it only contained the bottle of poison, and not the protein can. But once the room was opened up, they were switched, and as a result, the protein can wound up in the rec room, and the bottle of poison returned to the chem lab.
If that's all true, then why did Sakura drink the poison? I thought we all agreed she was tricked into drinking it because of the protein can.
No, that's not why. The only explanation is she drank it from its original bottle, knowing exactly what it was.
Precisely. She was alone in a locked room. All she had was the poison. What other possibility is there?
You're saying she drank it knowing what it was? Such a ridiculous...
I got it! I think it was Sakura herself.
Huh? So Sakura, who was apparently murdered, just poisoned herself? What are you talking about? There's no way!
On the contrary, we know for a fact she went to the chem lab, right to the section full of poisons.
You're lying! Stop lying! Why? Why would you lie? You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! I'm telling you, I did it! Stop talking! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you! You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! I'm telling you, I did it! Stop talking! Do you have any kind of proof Sakura took the poison?
This should prove it. Hina, did you know that Sakura's foot had a certain yellow powder stuck to it?
It did?
It did. The same yellow powder that had been spilled by the shelf in the chem lab. That powder was yellow, wasn't it? So the powder we found on Sakura, what else could it be but the powder from the chem lab?
Wait. So, what was that powder doing on Ogre's foot?
And it was only on her instep, right?
Sakura must have been standing right there where the powder was spilled. So the person who spilled the powder by the shelf wasn't Hina, but Sakura. And when Sakura dropped the bottle, she dropped it away from where she was actually standing. Which is how she was able to avoid getting it all over herself. But the powder still got scattered around, and some of it must have wound up on her instep. Is there any problem with my thinking?
But why did Sakura pay a visit to Section C in the first place? The only explanation is that she was looking for poison. After all, that's all that section contained.
No! It was me! The poison! Because I killed her!
No, you didn't kill her. Here's my answer. The one who killed Sakura was Sakura herself.
What? The killer was Sakura?
Wait, so you're saying it was suicide?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it any more than I believe I can fly!
I can't believe it either. Or rather, I don't want to believe it. But when you really think about it, everything matches up. Sakura went and got the poison. She barricaded herself in a room, and she drank it. All so she could end her own life. And that explains why we couldn't solve the mystery of the locked room. I got it! The locked room mystery was created by Sakura.
I'm sure she locked herself in so nobody could stop her from doing what she did. She sat there, drank the poison, and breathed her last breath. And the empty bottle of poison rolled around the locked room until we came and opened it.